Hello everyone. This overview will serve as a study guide to Episode 3 of Lectio Mark. The video presentation by Dr. Tim Gray will be held on this Monday, March 25th at 8 p.m. It will be followed by reflection questions and model answers for a deeper understanding of the subject.
An overview on Lectio Mark, Episode 3. Jesus calls his first disciples. In Mark chapter 1, Jesus encounters Simon and Andrew and calls them to follow him, and immediately they leave everything and follow him. Mark presents this encounter as dramatic and immediate, emphasizing the prompt response to the call of God. Discipleship and obedience. Mark portrays discipleship as following Jesus' lead, emphasizing the importance of obedience and following Jesus rather than taking the lead. This encounter with Jesus passing by and calling his disciples echoes the story of Elijah and Elisha, suggesting Jesus as the new Elijah and the mantle of Yahweh. Teaching and encounter in Capernaum. Jesus goes to Capernaum and begins to teach with authority, which astonishes the people. The encounter with an unclean spirit in the synagogue highlights the conflict with demonic forces as the primary enemy in Mark's Gospel. Encounter with an unclean spirit. The man with an unclean spirit in the synagogue recognizes Jesus as the Holy One of God, but this is not a confession of faith. Instead, the demon is attacking Jesus and trying to exorcise him. Jesus rebukes the unclean spirit, demonstrating his authority over demonic forces. Demon naming and exorcism. In exorcisms, demons often refuse to give their personal names, such as the demon saying, "We are legion," to Jesus, showing defiance against God's authority. Jesus demonstrates his authority over demons by casting them out, even without them revealing their names. Healing and authority of Jesus. Jesus performs miraculous healings, like curing Peter's mother-in-law of a fever and casting out demons from many in the village. Despite the demons acknowledging Jesus, he silences them to show that their intent is not confession but attack. Sabbath healing and gathering. People gather at Peter's house to seek healing from Jesus, despite Sabbath restrictions imposed by the Pharisees. The use of the word synagogue to describe the gathering reflects the prophetic theme of God regathering his scattered people. Prayer and discipleship. Jesus prioritizes prayer, rising early to commune with God, setting an example for his disciples to be with him. Jesus emphasizes the mission of preaching and casting out demons as central to his purpose. Healing of the leper. A leper approaches Jesus seeking to be made ritually clean to return to the liturgical life and temple worship. Jesus compassionately touches the leper, symbolizing a new paradigm where the unclean is transformed and made clean. Jesus' compassion for the lepers. Jesus demonstrates compassion towards the leper by reaching out and touching him, healing him not only of his leprosy but also of his loneliness and isolation. The reversal of the leper's isolation and Jesus' embodiment of it shows the beauty of Jesus' love for humanity as the Redeemer. The healing of the paralytic. A paralytic is brought to Jesus by 4 men, and when they cannot get near him due to the crowd, they remove the roof above Jesus and lower the paralytic down. Jesus not only physically heals the paralytic but also forgives him of his sins, demonstrating his authority on earth to forgive sins. Old Testament allusions. Jesus' use of the phrase, "so that you may know," alludes to the story of the Exodus, emphasizing the new Exodus that Jesus is bringing about. The Pharisees are compared to the hard-hearted Pharaoh in the Old Exodus, highlighting their refusal to believe and accept Jesus' authority. Implications of Jesus' actions. Jesus' actions demonstrate his power and authority, both in physical healing and forgiveness of sins, challenging the disbelief of the Pharisees. The stories of compassion and healing reveal the depth of Jesus' love and the transformative impact of his ministry. Jesus is bringing a new Exodus. The framework of the rest of chapter 2 reveals that Jesus is bringing a new Exodus, and he's performing great signs. These signs help us understand who Jesus truly is, affirming his divine nature as God. Reflection questions. 1. how does the immediate response of Simon and Andrew to Jesus' call to follow him reflect the nature of true discipleship and the concept of obedience? 2. How does the portrayal of discipleship, as following Jesus' lead and emphasizing obedience, challenge our inclination to take the lead in our spiritual journey? 3. How does the encounter with the unclean spirit in the synagogue highlight the spiritual warfare and conflict with demonic forces as the primary enemy in Mark's Gospel, challenging our understanding of the battle between good and evil? 4. How does the encounter with the unclean spirit in the synagogue challenge our initial perception of the demon's recognition of Jesus as an attack rather than a confession of faith, and how does Jesus' subsequent rebuke highlight his authority over demonic forces? 5. How does the demon's refusal to give a personal name in the exorcism, instead stating, "We are legion," highlight their defiance against God's authority, and how does Jesus' ability to cast them out despite this defiance underline his ultimate authority over demonic forces? 6. How does Jesus' silencing of acknowledging demons underscore his authority over spiritual forces and the nature of their intent, challenging our understanding of spiritual warfare and the manifestation of divine power? 7. How does the gathering at Peter's house for healing on the Sabbath challenge our understanding of religious traditions and convey a deeper spiritual significance, considering the prophetic theme of God regathering his scattered people? 8. How does Jesus' prioritization of prayer and emphasis on the mission of preaching and casting out demons as central to his purpose model a holistic approach to discipleship, challenging our understanding of the balance between spiritual communion and active ministry? 9. How does the interaction between Jesus and the leper, where the leper seeks to be ritually clean to return to temple worship, reflect a deeper longing for social and spiritual restoration? And how does Jesus' compassionate touch symbolize a transformative shift where the unclean is made clean, challenging previous notions of purity and cleanliness? 10. How does Jesus' radical act of compassion towards the leper, healing not just his physical ailment, but also his deeper loneliness and isolation, challenge our understanding of divine love and redemption? And how does the reversal of the leper's situation underscore the transformative power of Jesus' love as the Redeemer? 11. How does the extraordinary action of the paralytic being lowered through the roof provide a vivid illustration of faith and determination? And how does Jesus' decision to forgive the paralytic's sins, alongside his physical healing, reveal the depth of his authority and compassion, challenging the traditional understanding of physical and spiritual healing?
You are invited to join us on every Mondays at 8 p.m. for an insightful presentation on Gospel of Mark by renowned theologian Dr. Tim Gray. This virtual 14-part series, hosted via Zoom, will be followed by thoughtful reflection questions and engaging discussions. To register, please contact Janet Ong at +60 162186784 or Raymond Rwan at +659060650 via WhatsApp or SMS. Don't miss this opportunity to enrich your understanding of the gospel and strengthen your connection to our faith community. This is an initiative of West Mall NCC, Mystical Rose NCC, St. Lucie, Vision Impaired, and friends. All are invited. No donations or fees required.